This is Mile High.
We have to do it better in order to move people along.
Up, down, inside out.
If you get your mind right,
it is not. It is a receiver of thought.
Because love is my first technique.
It's now time for the show.
Dr. Dan Lemberger, and this, either on my left or the right, depending on how you're looking at the screen, is Dr. Daniel Knowles, the founder of the Mile High chiropractic movement. This August, again, Mile High 5, we're up to number 5 here in Colorado, and it's a great pleasure to have you here, Danny, sharing with everybody around the world a little bit about chiropractic this morning here in Colorado, this afternoon for those of you who are watching us in Europe, and tomorrow who are watching us in Australia. So we're just kind of getting this up and running. Dan, why don't you kind of say a few words about the upcoming Mile High program? We'll get into some questions. If you're out there and you're seeing us on Facebook Live and you want to send a question to Danny, feel free to enter a comment in the live comments. I'm just going to share this into some groups, and we'll be getting rolling.
Well, Mile High is it's my baby. It's my third child, and or fourth. And here's the deal with Mile High. Basically, I didn't need another hobby. I had a busy practice, teaching technique, full life, and it wasn't like I sat down and said, you know what, I just want to have a seminar. You see a lot of that in chiropractic. Mile High is really completely born out of purpose and really incredibly innate driven. And here's the deal. It got to a point, one of the things that drives me or makes me take action, I've noticed in my life, is I reach a maximal point of frustration. I reach a maximal point of some kind of frustration about something, then I will make something happen. And basically, Mile High I got to a maximal point of frustration with the state of chiropractic in the state of Colorado, and consequently the world and the region that we're in. Because you see, when you get your head out from buried in the sand and just looking at what's going on in your practice and concerned about you and yourself, and are you seeing enough new people, and are you making enough money, and all of the things that go along with practice, and you've hit all those things, and then you're sitting around and you're looking at, like, well, you pick up your head and you look around and see, well, what happened to chiropractic in the last 20 years? And you see it's completely further off course than it was 20 years ago. It just hit this little switch of like, this is got to change, and what can I do about it? And basically, when I saw the amount of apathy around people's attitude, chiropractors' attitudes, apathetic chiropractors, and as my friend Liam Schubel says, apathy leads to allopathy in chiropractic. When I saw the amount of apathy in chiropractic in Colorado around people wanting to move injections into the scope of practice, it just flew me off the Richter scale. And I said, how come chiropractors don't show up to say anything about this? And I realized that people had just been so lost in terms of what it is that we do in our region, and so not caring. And the reality is, if you just care about yourself, you're not going to have as big an impact. And people need to care about themselves, but you also need to care about something bigger than yourself. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that's something that's really kind of exciting about the Mile High movement is, not just the stuff that you and Rochelle have done on kind of a grand structure of making a place for people to be able to come together, but how, the people who are at Mile High are real people who are doing this all the time in their practices. We mentioned this on other interviews with various people that, at the program, it's not, you see somebody on stage and they disappear and you never see them again. Like, people are together all weekend. People are sharing meals. People are hanging out by the fire pit out back. Yes, here in Colorado, we do have fire pits. Where people kind of can hang out and enjoy a drink in the evening. It's really kind of a special place. something, this is Mile High 5, like we said. I've known you for probably a very long time.
We don't need to talk about that.
And days BC, before chiropractic, that I've known you for obviously a very long time. I've known you a very long time here in Colorado in chiropractic. We've shared a lot of different things. I remember starting chiropractic organizations, all that sort of stuff that's happened here. But this is Mile High 5, which is really incredible. Like you were mentioning, the importance of doing something and making things happen. But maybe share a little bit of the evolution of Mile High 1 happened, which was an amazing event. We've now moved into a new hotel. There's you've expanded a lot of things. Maybe you can share a little bit about the evolution of Mile High and some of the upcoming treats that people have in store for them this year.
Well, I'll tell you, in all reality, and you know this, and probably no one else knows, if we talk about the evolution of Mile High, this is actually probably Mile High 8, because we, long before Cal Jam, long before Focus or any of those things, you and I and Joe Arve and Zalk Alme and Mark Wynn, and we can mention all those people, and a few others, Joel Kinch, we had the Colorado Chiropractic Wellness Alliance. And we started a state organization because we saw all the challenges of chiropractic back then.
Yep.
We called them, at that time, wellness wasn't a bad word in chiropractic, right? So we called it our annual wellness extravaganza because we were the wellness-oriented chiropractors, and that was, a substitutable word for straight at that time, not so much now, but, so we were the wellness-oriented, non-therapeutic chiropractors. And we had 3 conventions, which were awesome. I mean, people flew in from all over. We had a number of speakers. People flew out because they knew our vision at that point and what we were dealing with in Colorado. And we, had merged with another state organization, so we stopped doing those. And when we did that, I'll say it. I looking back, I kind of feel like I dropped the ball. I let something stop because I was focused on another area. As not just me, but several of us were like, "Oh, we're busy in our practice. We're not going to deal with." And we saw the ramification of that really quick, because when you're not vigilant about what's happening in your own backyard, things went south really quick in terms of politics in our state. So Mile High, when we did the first one, we put it together in like 4 months. It was just, and it was amazing that all these people showed up. We had an incredible lineup. Chris Zano, it was Joe Borio. It was amazing. And the energy of the room, people were just like, this is the start of something big. So, and we didn't have any CE. It was 2 days or a day and a half or something. So we, upped the game. The next year we had a continuing education, which we had done back when we did the Colorado Chiropractic Wellness Alliance. We had continuing education back then. So we added CE. This happens, and then we kept adding more. So now Mile High 5 is, this is a chock full weekend. And you mentioned something that's really important that I'm going to say before I say all the things that are going on during the weekend, which is this. One of the great things about programs, all right, it's a good program, is the camaraderie. It's the time in the hallways that you have talking with people. It's the conversations you have in the hallways, the conversations you have at the bar, the dinner that you go out with, the time that you connect with like-minded chiropractors with the same vision is one of the most valuable things about it. And I have yet to be at a chiropractic program, and I've been a chiropractor for 20 years, where I liked every single speaker. Even Mile High. I've been yet to be at a program where I said every single speaker I love. There's always someone that, they didn't quite do it for me. But I'm not there because I have to put a stamp of approval on every speaker when I go to Sherman Lyceum or something like that, right? I'm there because I want to be with that community. And now Mile High is a home for chiropractors in this region, because this region did not have a home for chiropractors, all right, at all, right? All it had was go to Department of Transportation physicals, right? Which I recently just heard at a meeting that was the best thing to happen to chiropractic in Colorado in like a decade. Somebody told me that. So that's interesting. But, Mile High is now, it's a home for chiropractors, particularly in this region, though we attract people from all over the world, right? But this year, so we got Thursday, we start Thursday night now because we just packed it all in. So first and foremost, starting Thursday night, be smart and fly in Wednesday or Thursday morning early. Don't get here at like 4 and rush from the airport. That's dumb. All right. You want to get here early because Colorado is beautiful and enjoy Colorado. Okay. So get here Wednesday, go hiking, go to Rocky Mountain National Park, do something like you make this a vacation. Right. And bring your team, because when you do something like that with your team, they love getting, that kind of energy from their employer. So do that. Right. And then, so Thursday night we start, it's something like 6 to 10 Thursday night. We got 2 hours of CE that night of that time. So if you are CE minded, you've got to get there, then you got to get there Thursday. Okay. If you want to get all your hours. Friday, we start early. Friday, we have an early morning philosophy session. Joel Kinch kills it with the philosophy session. And he's done that since we started. We do an hour Green Book discussion that he does, right? And it's phenomenal. And so actually, we do that the first Friday morning. But then what happened was people like it so much, and that's an hour before the rest of the program. So we get some early Green Book risers, right? So you got your Green Book and coffee. And then the next day, Saturday, what we have is we decided to have 2 philosophy sessions early in the morning. And this time, last year was led by Simon Senzon. This year, Brian Dooley is putting it together because he's the lead on the Academy of Chiropractic Philosophers, or one of the leads, I should say. And he's going to be an ACP-themed session that morning, okay, which is really cool. And so that's going to be that morning and that. So then Friday during the day, the other thing we added, because we changed hotels, I like the hotel we used to be at, but there were some things that they just couldn't accommodate for us, right? So what we did was we wanted to have more rooms to do more things other than the main stage. So we were able to pull that off in this new location. By the way, the hotel we're at, the Marriott, people have told me last year was the first year at this hotel. The reviews of the hotel, that was people's favorite thing of the weekend. It wasn't a speaker. The favorite thing of the weekend, the most positive feedback was the hotel. People loved it. They loved the food. They loved the ambiance. They said the service, Liam said this, he goes to hotels, fancy hotels everywhere. It's the best service he had in any hotel in the world he'd ever been to. He pulled me aside. He could not believe how they accommodate everything. But we have extra rooms. So Friday, another reason to make sure you get there and start off with us is we have breakout sessions. So we're having 3 breakouts off the main stage. So you can choose what you want to go to. Okay. So one of them is Shawn Dill. It's either Shawn Dill or Lacey Book. They're working that out, but something of the Dill book or Meet the Dills, because now there's 2 Dills. So the Dills, they're doing some kind of, they're doing a breakout between the 2 of them. All right. And then there's and I didn't get the title of it, but I know it's going to be good. It'll be a Black Diamond Club themed title. And then at the same time, Jacob Sims, who's awesome. He's in Colorado. He's a fired up Colorado doc, 2nd generation. His parents went to Mile High before he graduated from chiropractic school. Okay. Wow. And he sees like 700 people a week down in, some in that western part of Colorado that we forget about. Okay. Somewhere in the Western Slope or something, but he's doing an AMP breakout for an hour and a half. And then at the same time, Donald Epstein is doing a chiropractic mastery technique breakout, which, I mean, just those 3 things, forget it, even if the rest of the weekend wasn't awesome, those 3 things in of themselves are awesome.
Yeah, and, like something that you mentioned too is that, this is at the Marriott just outside of Denver for those of you who are coming from out of state. It's superly conveniently located, pretty close to the airport. It's not an airport hotel, but it's just kind of north of Denver. It's very convenient to get to. But if you bring your family, if you bring your staff, not only is there a ton of things inside the hotel, but if you want to jump down to Denver is like 15, 20 minutes right away. 15, 20 minutes into Boulder from the location as well. So you can bring your family. There's a lot of day things that they can go off and do. But something really cool about the hotel, and this is a pretty decent sized Marriott, is basically Mile High takes over the entire hotel. So everybody who you see in the elevators, everybody who you see in the restaurant, everybody who you see in the ballroom obviously is at the program. But, it's kind of cool to be in that environment for the weekend. Also, if you're not used to the ridiculously amazing weather that we have here in Colorado, it's an amazing time of year to be here in Colorado. It's really amazing. So like Danny was saying, if you fly in early and you have a little extra time, you can jump out, you can grab a hike, you can, there's a path that actually goes right past the hotel, stretches all the way down. It's a bike path that stretches all the way from Denver to Boulder if you are training.
Yeah, let me say something about that. It's the location is stellar because you're right. You walk out of the hotel, they got a bike path, hiking path, goes up there. They've got bike rentals. It's beautiful. It's like a freaking vacation. And people just love that facility. And we're really grateful to have it. And there's only 215 rooms in the whole place. That's all there is. So, you do the math. There was something around 400 people at Mile High last year in 215 rooms. Okay, now there are those people that had 5 people in a room and people sleeping on the floors and stuff like that. However, we pretty much took over that whole hotel. And this year we're going to sell that out. So if you're watching this and you didn't reserve your hotel, be smart, milehighchirohotel.com, reserve your hotel. I don't even think they charge your credit card. It's just you reserve it. So
yes.
Don't worry about it, but book your room so you don't lose it. And $139 a night, you might find something for $10 cheaper or something, but that's not, what's it called? It's not worth it, to not be at the location.
And we had
people last year that showed up and didn't book the hotel and they were like, oh, it's $300 a night. What do I do? And I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you, right?
Yeah, it's kind of, like we're saying, the hotel is great, but, in reality, we could do this in, I won't name low budget hotels to call them out, but, we could do this in a really awful place, holes in the ceiling, ripped sheets, nasty stuff that we don't even want to think of. We've all been in these types of hotels at some point in our life, unfortunately. But what you're really coming for is the speakers, is the people, is being a part of it, is, connecting throughout the weekend. It's not just, the information which you get from the stage, but like we've both said, and you'll hear a lot from Mile High, is the community. It's the Mile High movement. It's not a Mile High weekend where you come and you kind of get real fired up and then you kind of get back on the plane and you kind of have a decrescendo of the excitement. It's about real sustainable strategies for you and your practice. It's about being able to bring this excitement. It's not just about the excitement. It's not, as one person who we have talking this year is Patrick Chintempo, which is going to be amazing, who's a fellow Midwesterner out in Utah. But now that he's
a fellow Northeast relocate to Midwest.
Yeah, probably Patrick would be, maybe he associates now with being a Utahian. I don't know if that's a word. But he's going to be here, which is amazing. But he talks about the jacuzzi experience. It's not just having you feel good about yourself and, oh, yeah, you're so great because you're serving humanity, which you should feel great for. But that's not the purpose. The purpose is about having that real fundamental experiences that are going to propel you in your life, in your practice, to help you to be able to better serve and really have, nuts and bolts items. Like Danny was saying about these breakout sessions. I mean, that's all just kind of, pure, nuts and bolts items that you can be using in your practices. The people up on the stage are giving real practical things that you can be using in your practices. We have, all of the stuff that you can be also getting your continuing education credits for. We have basically everything across the board that you can want in a chiropractic program. Plus, you get to see Danny Knowles.
Well, that's
how good is that?
That's really what it's all about. But I'll tell you something about Chintempo, okay? 2 things. One, Patrick Chintempo, friends with him since I've been in chiropractic school, so that goes way back. 'Cause I'm getting gray hair now. But anyway, when we had multiple times, we had challenges politically, legally in Colorado, he came to our aid multiple times. And so I'm really grateful for him coming out to Mile High. I feel like he's been part of our movement since back then. So it's glad to have them reconnect. Then the other thing that I want to say is the end of that program, okay, what we've done, and I belabored over this, but this is going to be hot. We put the last 3 hours of Mile High. There's a party Saturday night, so that's the other part. Don't fly out Saturday night. Don't be stupid, all right? That's my saying. Don't be stupid. Fly out Sunday. Be there for the party, hang out around the fire, in the camaraderie. But the last 3 hours of the program, okay, it's 3 straight hours. Donald Epstein, Patrick Gentempo, Liam Schubel.
Wow.
That's going to be an incredible 3 hours.
That's a pretty incredible thing. And actually, Liam Schubel's watching us live right now. And, kind of the weird thing about these Facebook Live interviews is you might be watching this like 30 years in the future, and it's going to be like we're talking to you like right now. It's live, like it's real. but at 8:26 a.m. here in Colorado, at 10:26 on the East Coast, where Liam Schubel's watching from. But that's a pretty incredible, action-packed. I mean, if you talk about intensity and you talk about people who really bring, like the full game, those 3 people have to be at the very top in the chiropractic profession of people who really, truly, bring it and deliver the goods in speaking. Yeah.
So that 3 hour close, I mean, I almost can't wait for it now. It's going to be pretty amazing.
And something too, besides, Patrick and Donald and Liam and, you mentioned some of the other speakers. Who are some other speakers who you think, we have a lot of new speakers, people who have never spoken on the Mile High stage. We have,
let's talk about that. Well, first of all, one thing that we do is we have a lot of female speakers. I'm always incredibly conscious about the ratio of male to female speakers, intentionally, because I've seen lots of programs where you see like 2 women speaking and there's like 28 guys or something like that. And the reality is that the chiropractic is shifting in terms of the proportion of male females. Sherman College right now, 49% of its enrollment is female.
Wow.
Shift from chiropractic 20 years ago. So we are really shifting to a female dominant profession from a male dominant profession. And so one of the great female speakers is Judy Campanelli. I love hearing Judy speak. And she's doing an hour of C. I asked her particularly to do this because Case Management for Straight Chiropractors, Joe Strauss's book, she was one of the... That is an area where chiropractors don't realize how much they go out of their scope, or out of, not their scope, because their scope is one thing, what they can do by law, but out of what is considered subluxation-oriented chiropractic so easily. So she's going to go over that, which is going to be so incredible for people. Jessica Hardin is doing a great program. Lacey Book. Also, my favorite female speaker is Rochelle Knowles. And so she's going to be there, of course.
I just want to note for those people out there, we're 22 minutes into this, and this is Danny's first mention of Rochelle. He should do this frequently.
So, we also, on that note, we have an LCW luncheon that we do every year because, again, we want to make sure to highlight women in chiropractic.
Yeah,
sure.
and one key thing about this, because I know how you schedule and how you put together the program is, I think, another fundamental difference is that sometimes people do representation in when they put together a program, and they'll look and they'll go, oh, hey, we need to, put a woman in here. I think what you look to do when you create a program is who are the best chiropractors who are going to really, excite and enliven. And, that's really proportional to the demographics of the profession and what it looks like. And
absolutely.
This is something that's absolutely critical. I think that sometimes, unfortunately, gets lost in a lot of chiropractic programs, and there's a lot of amazing chiropractic programs, but it's also, really kind of, allowing this to come through what's really natural and organic in the profession. Right.
Absolutely. And that's another area is team. we have a team breakout session. Jen Steinberg, who I adore. I love Jen and Bruce Steinberg. They're amazing. She's doing a 2-hour team breakout session, which is going to be stellar. So that's why people bring their teams. And that's why we do things like make an associate fee real affordable to come, make student fees real affordable come, make CA teams, like, because you want to be there with your whole tribe.
Yeah, totally. And we have some local Colorado favorites. We have Joe Arve returning to the stage.
Yeah, love Joe.
And you were talking about, when people come to these programs, it's kind of, obviously we have a lot of local talent here in Colorado, but what would you say proportionally of people who are within Colorado speakers, people who are out of Colorado speakers?
I would say it's probably 25% in Colorado and 75% out.
Yeah. So that's exciting for all the Colorado people, is you're having national talent who are coming to Colorado to speak in your backyard. See them all in one weekend. And for those of you who are outside of Colorado, you have national talent who are coming to the best place in the world, Colorado, to come speak. So you should come out to Colorado for the weekend.
Well, you know what? We're the highest programming chiropractic.
We are, and that's not just because of Colorado's very liberal and forward-thinking rules about other substances, which is a whole. Which hey, if that's your thing too, then Colorado's also a good place to do. But it's not particularly
walking distance from the hotel.
That's your point.
But I will say something else about speakers. Super important, Dan. I almost forgot this. People have been noticing, and asking me and messaging me, so I know they're noticing, that there's some people's blacked out faces and on the image. And there's 2 of them. And so I keep getting messages, can I speak? And here's what that is. We're doing something totally new. And I'm psyched because it's 14 days till we figure out who the winner is. We decided that we're going to receive entries for people to speak. So someone speaks who was never spoken before, all right? And there may not be a main stage speaker, because I tend to find that sometimes the people that speak that don't do this regularly are some of the best, because they put so much effort and heart. Like one year Mark Wynn spoke, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. So we have 2 spots that people have been sending in entries for, and one's going to be a DC and one's going to be a student. And we've got something like 20 entries, and they're stellar. And so it's kind of hard that I'm only going to be able to pick 2. But we have one spot for DC and one for a student that's not someone who you generally see on stage, which will be pretty cool.
Yeah. No, and I think that's kind of part of the realness of Mile High is it's that living excitement that's in everyone. Something that people will be seeing over the next few weeks coming up to Mile High, and Mile High is coming up in August, is you're going to see a lot more of these live interviews. And we're going to try and put up notices. It won't just, be myself, but there's going to be other people who are going to be doing some interviews over the next few weeks. And we're going to be trying to feature as many of the speakers in advance here to kind of start to connect with people and start to warm up the Mile High movement.
Yeah, it's super exciting. And the people doing the interviews are you, Joel Kinch, Jared Dawson, who's returning as an MC again this year, which I'm psyched about. I love Jared. Who else is doing some interviews?
Stephanie Harris. Carrie Mancuso.
Yep, Carrie Mancuso. Love Carrie Mancuso. There's a couple others. Amanda Almeida.
And yourself.
Yep. Oh, and myself. Yeah, I'm doing some.
Remind yourself to do the interviews. We have a lot of people who will be interviewing. We have all the speakers who were kind of lining up for these things. You'll see what we'll try and do is we'll try and put a few days before, hey, check back at this time, and you'll see the Mile High live. if you see somebody on your Facebook feed and it actually says the little live on the feed, feel free to send a question. Feel free to ask. If it's on replay, obviously we can't go back in time and answer those questions. But if you see people and they're online live, feel free to chime in, send a question. This is all interactive and it's going to be fun.
Yep. Awesome. Cool. And thank you for everything you're doing for Mile High too, Dan.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Couldn't do without you guys.
You're very welcome. Well, it takes a kind of village to raise a profession, and I think that's kind of what we're doing at Mile High. It is chiropractic at a new altitude, and I think that's what we're doing with the Mile High movement, is helping to raise and elevate the chiropractic profession. So thanks to you, Dan, and everything that you're doing with Rochelle, with the entire Mile High team, with putting this all together and making this, amazing, place for people to be able to come together.
When I see people come back for the third, fourth, and fifth year, I just always, tell them welcome home.
Yep. So any closing words for everybody today as we get on to our Fridays and all the fun things that brings?
Yeah. If you haven't registered yet, register. www.milehighchiro.org. Grab your seats. They're only going to, rise up. So decide to rise up to Mile High before the ticket prices rise up. And then number 2 is grab your hotel seats. Just make it all happen. Don't procrastinate.
All right. So, oops, sorry, I almost clicked end there too quickly. I'm going to put up right here, www.milehighchiro.org. Go there. You can find how to register. You can find hotel information. Like we said, make sure you book your hotel early. Make sure you reserve a spot. Just follow that information. Even if you're not sure if you need 2 rooms or 3 rooms, just book your rooms so that way you can make sure that you have a space in the hotel. I can guarantee the hotel will sell out. So you really want to make sure that you book your hotel room early, and also you want to make sure that you register because the earlier you register, the more you save. So go to milehighchiro.org and get yourself registered and all set up for the program.
Yeah, last year, Brian Lum says to me, this is the first time of going to programs in 20 years that I booked my hotel early just because you were so on it.
There you go. So go to the Mile High website. Again, it's going to be August 17th through 20th here in Denver, Colorado, for everybody out of town. We look forward to welcoming you to Colorado. For everybody in Colorado on the western slope, we're going to be welcoming you here east. If you're in Boulder, we're going to be welcoming you to that kind of vast sprawl which exists between Boulder and Denver. And for everybody else, we're going to welcome you to the Marriott and Mile High. So, Danny, thanks for being here this morning. Thanks for everybody who's been watching. Thanks for everybody who's watching now on the replay. And make sure you go to milehighchiro.org, get yourself registered, and we'll see you at Mile High in August.
See you all there.
Thanks, all.
Like our page on Facebook, www.facebook.com/Mile High Chiro.